Long before North Sea Oil and decades before BP became a household name, a major English oil business was growing here in Hanley. Walker Brothers, later Century Oils, did not make its name through drilling for crude oil. It became a giant by keeping industrial Britain moving. The Walker Brothers started their oil and paraffin wax lubricating business here in Central Park, Cobridge in 1874. About 100 metres from Waterloo Road, to the right of what was the important Potteries loop railway line, was a shale oil field. To the right of where you can see three paths meeting today was one of the first shale oil sites in England. First mined in 1865 by Henry Ward & Co., the works had 18 retorts above ground where the shale was crushed and heated. Heat drove off vapours and gases which were condensed or distilled into shale oil and other products. It is quite difficult to understand what is shale oil, so here is archive footage which explains better what was at first a great Scottish industry in the Lothians from about 1851. By the 1860s, there were around 120 shale oil works operating in Scotland after James Young's patent expired. For those companies seeking to extract crude oil, the process was expensive. Huge quantities of rock had to be mined and heated to obtain relatively small amounts of oil. Once cheap conventional crude oil became available from abroad, Scottish shale oil struggled to compete. Before widespread petroleum production in places such as the United States and Middle East, shale oil provided Britain with lamp fuel, lubricants for industry, wax for candles, and chemical feedstocks. Here is the timeline for the Cobridge Oil Works. First mined in 1865 by Henry Ward & Co., bought in 1874 by the Walker Brothers. Around the turn of the century, they created the trading name Century Oils. As a limited company, they became known as William Walker & Sons Hanley Limited. By the 1950s, they had moved to a site on both sides of Brook Street, which was renamed Century Street in honour of the company's trading name.
I'm the CEO of FUCHS Lubricants in the UK, but previously this company's been known as Century Oils and also as Walker Brothers dating back to 1874. The Walker Brothers business started to extract oil from coal seams within the area to be used for lubricant and candle wax manufacturing, and has been operating on this site now for around 150 years, we believe. We know that it started in Cobridge, in the Cobridge Oil Works, and relocated onto the site, our old site that we have in Waterloo Road. Due to the expansion of the Century Oils Group into a multinational operation, having sites across the world, the head office of Century then expanded, and to take over the site that's behind me, expanded the business, which covers entirely where a part of the Potteries loop line runs through.
This is Waterloo Road, where we started. This was the site of a station on the Potteries loop line in North Hanley, which opened for passengers in 1900. The line went under the road that you can see here in a deep cutting. As the camera pans up, you can see the current site of Century Oils about half a mile away on the south side of Century Street. The wasteland between here and Century Street was also owned by Century Oils. The area in the red circle shows the Potteries loop line before the station for passengers was opened, and a set of railway sidings that was used by Century Oils transporting finished product. There is also a network of workers' houses. The image on the right shows cleared land before the trees grew. This is a composite image of the sidings taken from a steam train passing the sidings in the 1960s. The loop line stayed open for goods for a further 5 years after it was shut for passengers because of its use by Century Oils. I have listed the names of the streets that were slum cleared in the late 1960s. These were very basic houses with no indoor toilets and bathrooms. Real people that are alive today lived here, and it's a shame that this heritage will likely be lost. We should also remember an important pottery works and some flint mills. Here is not a very good image of Century's offices above the curve of the Potteries loop line after the rail tracks have been taken up. There are no buildings below the curve, as we will see today. As we pull back from today's offices to the south of Century Street, we see again the wasteland where Century used to have offices. These offices were partly built on top of the Brook Street Pottery Works between Lower Clarence Street and Brook Street, which were opened in 1842 by Thomas Worthington and closed 99 years later during the Second World War. My own family, my great-great-grandfather John Bevington, went into partnership with Thomas Worthington in 1862 to supply the French refreshment rooms at London's 1862 International Exhibition. The pottery was substantial, with the 1880 map recording at least 4 pottery ovens. If you are interested to see what are the current plans for this wasteland, here is an artist impression of the 300 planned houses published in the Sentinel in 2020. The developer is currently in dispute with the Forestry Commission on the lack of trees planned for this site.
The brand of Century has a very strong relationship with the city of Stoke-on-Trent. Many people from an elder generation will always know the Century Oils names. It was one of the largest employers in the city at the time, particularly back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, for instance, they were the sponsor of the National Garden Festival site when that came through. So Century had a major position in the UK lubricants industry, so this city will know the name or the brand of Century very well. FUCHS is becoming much more established now in terms of the takeover, because it's been almost 40 years now since the acquisition by FUCHS. But yeah, the Century name is synonymous with this area, and people still recognise the name when we speak about it. Walkers were relatively famous for the range of products for lubricants, axle box bearings, and they traded mainly in the Midlands and the north of England, but they had tanker wagons that helped to transport the materials around in the early part of the 19th century.
A nice FUCHS logo. Right, Richard, lead on. What can you? Where are we going to walk? To,
Well,
what can you show us on film?
We can walk what we believe is the loop of the old line.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are walking alongside the new manufacturing buildings that
Yes.
are now built on this site. So this building here, for instance, is responsible for making wire rope lubricants. So these would be the inner core lubricants of fishing ropes, mining ropes, any of those that would be done for construction type work as well. So the loop, we believe, would bring us round through the centre of the factory.
Are we okay to walk here?
Yeah, we're okay. We will do that. So yeah, we believe the loop would take us now through the centre of the factory and then finish in the top corner of our site.
Come all the way from Germany by the looks of things.
Yeah, I mean, we have raw material sourcing for our products comes from multiple locations, not really just the UK. So we will bring in base oil sourcing from across the world, additives mainly from Europe, but also from further afield. So vehicle movements on site now are pretty regular and yeah, quite varied in terms of the locations that they arrive from.
Yeah.
The iron ore shale manufacturing or extraction here has been there for a while. There was lots of dumping of oil in this area as well. So yeah, the Ladywell pit is underneath our manufacturing plant at this time.
So the building on the right is the production facility, which underneath will be the Ladywell iron ore mine.
Yeah.
That building was commissioned in the 70s, but finally produced in the 80s. And so yeah, it's been there for 40, 50 years now.
And just further on that way, there was the iron and steel works, is that?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, this whole site would have been the iron and steel works overall, yeah, from the
Yes.
FUCHS UK is actually the largest lubricant manufacturing site in the UK. We supply industrial and commercial automotive oils to the UK and Irish markets. We are a full line supplier of materials across multiple industries. We also provide products for specialist applications like white and yellow soft paraffins, so wax-based manufacturing, as well as products for like wire rope manufacturing as well. We're also home now to the famous silkolene brand of motorcycle lubricants, which was another acquisition by FUCHS in the UK. But all research and development, marketing, etc. for these materials is done from our site in Stoke.
So again, we believe we're following what was the loop line as it comes up and around to the top of the factory. These older road tankers that you can see here are obviously not roadworthy anymore. They're used for storage of materials now.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, we will always try not to mix different oil types for fear of contamination. There's a lot of incompatibility between different materials. Now we are unfortunately the overgrown area here, but from our understanding, this is just behind here. You can see the Quality Hotel, which is the one constant building that we have in all the photographic evidence of it. And alongside here is what we would believe was the Loop Line Road.
Okay.
So there are.
So your boundary is just
a
couple of meters into that
obviously
undergrowth.
The fencing is ours, but the wall has been there for a long time, as we understand.
And we think it's curved because the whole station was curved. And I guess this site is pretty secure with
cameras and everything.
Yes,
all over
yeah,
the place.
Your
Sensors and
your
God knows-
on-candid camera. At the
Yeah,
moment,
no,
yes.
no, yeah, I guess that's what you would expect. And that's the Quality Hotel, which
Yeah.
I think at the moment houses asylum seekers. It might.
It's correct, yes. Yeah.
So I think this brick wall is curved as part of the wall, having seen the other side of it. So it literally it does loop around slightly.
So this smaller plant we have here, which
Yeah.
we titled the RP plant, which essentially stands for rust preventatives.
Okay.
Actually manufactures anything that's probably solvent-based materials. So corrosion preventatives, cleaning fluids, calibration oils, things like that.
Yeah.
Dealing with low flash point solvents on the site as well. So okay. So all the pumps are ATEX rated to a very high standard, so if there's any little flash you could set the place off. But
So these buildings look almost 19th century. I'm going to
yes,
say.
I would think so. I would think that some of these buildings that you've seen on the photographs
Yeah.
may actually have been in existence
Okay.
at the time. But we have no idea of the use of them.
No. And so again, the train line would have come through somewhere
Yeah.
across here, wouldn't it? Because you've got
Well, I
both
think
both
it's-
sides of the
yeah.
line. Yeah. haven't you?
The hotel is directly here to the
Yeah.
left of the tree. You would think that it's somewhere here. Maybe the first loop started down to.
Yeah, that's what I think I would have said, because it's
Yeah.
You are both sides of the line here, I think.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I would think so. I mean, the Quality Hotel is directly opposite the tall
Yeah.
grey building, so that would be the hotel. So you would expect the line to have come through here and down the
Yes.
side there.
Well established, as we said, in the north and the Midlands area. Century went through a large expansion process in the mid-1900s, which actually then culminated in a global expansion to other countries across the world. Century Oils operated in America, Australia, South Africa, Belgium and other places. Century was very well entwined with the mining industry in the UK. They were the largest single supplier to the mining industry in the UK. So the closure of the mines in the 1980s was a significant impact on the business. Century was subsequently brought by FUCHS, the company that we are now, in the early 1990s, due to the fact that, if we're honest, they were slightly too reliant on the mining industry from the UK side for the profitability of the business. So yeah, the change in the mining profile of the UK was a huge change to the profile of the Century Oils business as well. The FUCHS organisation will be 100 years old in 2031. So in terms of the FUCHS business, this is the eldest, shall we call it, manufacturing site that they have in their group. Century was a major acquisition for FUCHS at the time as well, and has been a critical part of the global expansion of the FUCHS organisation. Yeah, FUCHS has operations in 55 countries worldwide, but the UK is amongst its top 10 companies worldwide.
Walker Brothers, trading as Century Oils, was one of the first in England, an independent business that kept Britain's industry moving with its industrial lubricants for 117 years. It continues today as part of FUCHS in the same city of Stoke-on-Trent. In contrast, BP was founded in 1909 and has only just reached the 117-year trading mark. Century Oils, now FUCHS, is an important Stoke-on-Trent business that we should celebrate alongside Stoke's ceramic heritage. Thanks for watching.